Hey my friends, it's Destiny and welcome to another video. If you don't know me, my name is Destiny and I am your travel and self-development coach. Today I am officially moved to Hawaii. Last night was my first time here and I'm just so excited about just the endless possibilities that I'm going to experience here. So today I'm going to talk about my leap of faith and what led me to make this move to Hawaii. So for most of my life, I had always dreamed about living somewhere else. My hometown is Detroit, Michigan, and as much as I love my city, I just knew that there was so much more out there for myself. And the thing that I'm so grateful for is social media and its ability to just show you so many different worlds. And so once I graduated high school and I was in college, I was seeing a lot of my friends go off to all these different places. And at the time, I didn't really have the money to plan a lot of trips, such as spring break trips or things like that. And so I basically lived through their experiences, but it just allowed me to see that there was so much more out there for myself. Eventually, after seeing all of my friends have these experiences for themselves, I thought to myself, if they can have it, I can have it too. And with the encouragement of my older sister, Nakia, I'm so grateful for her. She convinced me to apply for a study abroad program at Michigan. And the beautiful thing about the University of Michigan is they have so much funding out there. And so I had the opportunity to go on my first study abroad program. And I think that's what made me so addicted to traveling. Just the ability to live in someone else's cultures and see the way they live their lives. I think that it just broadened my perspective and it just expanded me so much as a person that I just wanted to keep doing it. And I was very privileged and I was able to go on 2 study abroad programs. I won't go too much in depth in them in this video. We'll talk about it later on down the line. But I went on 2 amazing study abroad programs. I went to Vietnam and I went to Cuba, and they were both fully funded by my university. The only thing that I had to pay out of pocket was my spending money, and that was it. And so once I graduated college, I ended up pursuing a second degree nursing program in order to get my nursing degree. And then I was thinking about moving out of Michigan, and that is when COVID happened. COVID actually happened right in the middle of my nursing school, and so I had to go to online school for about half of my program, and then I graduated. But because of how COVID shook our world and just, if I'm being honest, it was probably just a little bit of fear that I had about moving at that time, rightfully so, because each state had their own stay-at-home orders, and for me to go off to a totally different city and I can't even go outside, I can't even go out to meet people, I just felt like it wasn't the most appropriate time to make that move to a different state. And so I ended up staying in Detroit. At the time, I was living with my parents throughout my nursing program just to save a little extra money. And then after I was towards the end of my program, I ended up getting my own apartment and I stayed in Detroit. And from there, I graduated my nursing program and I found my first full-time nursing job. And at that point, when I first started working professionally as a nurse, that's when everything started to open back up. But because I was so new to my career and I had just started a new job, once again, it just didn't align. And I ended up just staying in that job. And at the time, I was an emergency nurse, which that wasn't what I always wanted to do in nursing. So when I finally found the opportunity, I made my switch to becoming a neonatal intensive care unit nurse. And once I got that role, I stayed in that role for about 2 years just because it is extremely hard to find a NICU nurse role, especially as a new graduate nurse. And so I stayed in that role for about 2 years and sucked up as much experience as I needed. And finally, I started my journey as a travel nurse, which that was January of 2023. So in January of 2023, I started working as an agency nurse. At the time, I was in a relationship, and so I couldn't quite take the leap and go to a different state just because of my relationship, and I wanted to respect my partner's wishes at the time. But when I tell you just the amount of, I won't say that it was abuse, but I definitely felt like in that role as a travel nurse, I was being taken advantage of, and just the meanness and the unfairness that I went through. I don't know how I managed to stay at this particular facility for as long as I did. So in October 2023, I made the decision to end the relationship that I was in at the time, and it just came down to the fact that we just did not have the same goals, and there was no love lost in the relationship. It just felt like we were just always two fighting forces, and we just did not work well together. And that was probably one of the hardest decisions that I had to make in 2023, just because I did still have a lot of love for this person, but I just couldn't keep putting my dreams to the side. And it was just something that was just boiling like within myself, that like I was destined for more. And this person, once again, they wanted to stay in Michigan. They wanted to stay close to their family, which there's nothing wrong with that. But I just knew that I am a venturer, I'm an explorer, and I just want to see the world. And so we just would not work well as a couple. And so I had to let that go. So once I ended that relationship, I feel like that's when a lot of things started to open up for me. Like, that was the only thing that was literally holding me to Michigan at that point, because I had already started my journey as a travel nurse, and I had actually gave up my apartment in October. And that's another reason that led to our end of our relationship. That will be another video if y'all want to know about my breakup story, as sad as it is. But I made a move. I decided to give up my apartment in Detroit just because I thought that my relationship was going to get to a point where we were going to be sharing a space. However, God had other plans, and my move actually ended up being the end of the relationship, which is, I can laugh at it now, but I was going through it at the end of 2023. So in November of 2023, that's when I started to kind of get out of my head a little bit about the breakup and kind of see what the world had to offer for me. And that's when I started getting my licenses in other states. And things were actually starting to get really bad at my travel assignment. Like I said, I felt like I was being taken advantage of. I am a neonatal intensive care unit nurse, and almost every day at my assignment, I would get sent up to the pediatric ICU. And while they would give me babies, within my age range, just the things and procedures that these kids needed, it was just not equivalent to what I do as a neonatal intensive care unit nurse. So often I would have to deal with attitudes from the staff members when they had to change the assignments at the last minute. And it just became a really uncomfortable feeling, and I was just tired of doing it because I felt like they took advantage of the fact that NICU was kind of slowing down, and it was like a bait and switch. Like, they knew that they needed pediatric ICU nurses, but they were like, okay, we're just going to put the NICU nurses upstairs, and then they can like kind of help with our staffing and things like that. And that's just not fair to me. It would have been okay for me if it was like, you know, every couple weeks or like at least once a week. But it was to the point where every day I was going up to the pediatric ICU. Like I wasn't even seeing the floor that I was actually contracted on, and that was extremely unfair to me. And there are different sides to it. You know, if you're a staff nurse, you'll probably say, well, you're getting the extra money, you should just do whatever, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, it is my license, and I'm not going to put that in. No amount of money is going to make me jeopardize my license that I worked so hard for. So once things started getting, I remember I had a really bad day in the pediatric ICU. And at the time, I was looking at a position in Hawaii for NICU. And I was like, you know what? F it. I might as well go to Hawaii. And so that same day, I booked a flight to Hawaii in January. Like I said, I wanted to wait until the holidays were over until like I made my jump to Hawaii. And so I booked it shortly after my birthday. And that was just my game plan. And so I kept following the contracts in Hawaii and following them, and they were open. And it wasn't until like the end of December that they finally filled. Like people, I think a lot of people were waiting for the holidays to be over in order to like start the new contracts, and the girlies snatched up all the RN contracts for NICU. So I was left with a problem. I had booked my flight. I had booked my housing. Like I was just so, you know, focused on the fact that I need to go to Hawaii. I need to get away from Michigan. Like this is what I want to do. So I booked my housing and I booked my flight on almost on the same day. And so when the time came, I was like, well, I already paid for my flight, and you know, I have enough money saved up. I'm just going to take this leap, and I'm going to go to Hawaii and see what it has to offer for me. And has it been a little bit scary, like leading up to this decision? Once it got closer, you know, I started to get a little bit nervous, but at the end of the day, there's nothing that's more exciting than taking a chance on yourself and just believing in yourself. And I think that's what something that has really been getting me through this experience is. I'm extremely proud of myself for just taking this chance, whether I stay out here for 1 month or I stay out here for 6 months. It's still an amazing experience to be out here and to see what this island has to offer, and that's something that's been getting me through. Alright, so I know I just said a lot in that video. So let me just sum everything up for you guys. 1, I booked a one-way ticket out to Hawaii. So right now I do not have a return trip planned for Detroit, and I have no idea how long I plan to stay out here. I'm just literally playing this experience day by day and playing it by ear. So my stay here could be as short as a month, or it could be as long as 5 months. Generally speaking, I know that I'll most likely be making my way back to Detroit because my sister will be graduating high school soon. And so I'm hoping that'll be the time frame when I go back to Detroit. But like I said, we will play it by ear. 2, I do not have a job or a contract out in Hawaii right now. Towards the end of 2023, I was following a lot of contracts very closely for NICU in Hawaii, but unfortunately, all those positions ended up being filled. Everyone loves being in Hawaii, so they tend to hold on to those positions as long as they can. It is only my hope that sometime in February or March, they will have more start dates. I've been in a lot of talks with a couple recruiters, and I'm just staying up to date to that. So really all I can do is put that in God's hands and just enjoy my experience out here. I'm not going to spend every day stressing about whether I'm going to get a position out here or not. If I do, I do. If I don't, I don't. But I'm still going to make the most of this experience. And 3, so while I'm here, my plan is just to soak in as many experiences as I can. If you're somebody who's always wanted to come to Hawaii, you'll definitely want to tap into my videos because I'll be going on a lot of excursions, checking out some local spots, some of the beaches and things like that, and just giving you guys the inside scoop on where you would want to plan your vacations. It is also my hope that once a little bit of time passes that I can also go to the other islands. Like, I would love to visit Kauai because that's where my grandfather lived, and that was actually my first experience in Hawaii. And so I haven't been there since I was a young girl, and I barely remember that trip. I think I was about 9, either 7 or 9 when I went. And I would also like to go to the Big Island, so we'll just play this experience ear by ear, but I know that it's just going to be so amazing, and I can't wait to take y'all on this journey. Thank you for everyone who has reached out to me and offered me support, and congratulations, because like I said, right now I'm walking by faith, and I don't necessarily feel scared. Like, sometimes it'll come up randomly, but it doesn't last very long. I think now that I'm actually here, I think I'm more so filled with excitement more than anything else. So I'm excited to take y'all on this journey. And if you're interested in seeing these experiences and what Hawaii has to offer, definitely like and subscribe to my channel. Turn on those post notifications. Another good place that's going to be to also get a lot of content is my TikTok, and it's the same name as my YouTube channel, which is Hey It's Destiny. So that is all I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for tuning into this video, and I hope to see you guys in the next one.